before we move on to part 2, which is actually what we want to do, we need to save our files, and you'll be saving them in 2 locations, so you have a backup of it. Now, don't overwrite the old file with the new. I mean, you can overwrite the new file. No, hold on. You can overwrite the old file with the new one. Just don't do it the other way, okay? I did that a few times in my life, and I suffered the consequences. Actually, I did it on Monday. So we actually will go File, Save As. So save it. You don't lose it. This is all the assignment parts will be in one document, okay? Here, if you can do the pull down like this, we will be saving it for now. You can save it into your desktop so you have it. And one important thing about saving, and you will do it for every lab that you do, beginning of it, we will remove the lab, just highlight it, and you will start with your last name capitalized, first letter, okay, then your first name initial capitalized, and then underscore. So this is the saving convention for all your files. We don't need A at the end because it's one assignment, not A. But what we'll do, I will know you Wednesday lab, and I thought about this now. So Monday, if you're watching this, don't do this. Okay, this is for Wednesday. Okay, pay attention. So underscore W, capitalized. So I know you Wednesday. Now Monday, if you want to do M1, M2, you can. But right now, Monday, leave that part alone, okay? So you got it. You're not Monday class, so you can do it. And we can just go ahead and save our file. I actually have a location for my files I can save, so I will just save it where I did it. So I will save it there. Now another place I told you will be saving the file, and now it can get confusing when you save all at one time, so we'll do that at the end again. A few times we'll save it here, and the final ones we save 2 places. Now this message will come up. We did add a spot color, so do continue. Okay? And after that, okay. That's it. You're done with this part. So now we need to add several more artboards. Instead of doing a new document, we can go into Window, Artboards, and then go ahead and add new ones. And you can go ahead and add 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, go ahead and do so. For the next part, I will move this over and I will open the assignment so I know how the starting piece is supposed to look like. Keep in mind that assignment, the starting pieces are not the finished ones, which kind of makes sense. So I will navigate to these. So when you finish, you have to be able to show me what I do in the lab. When I show you, not this. This is just beginning of it, right? Then this is complete. So I'm going to open this up so I can see that. Make it small. Eyeball it. Okay, there it is. That's good. And then for the artboards, I can always navigate. I can change my size of my page. So if you want to see it, just move it over so you can actually see the page. So I move it all the way and minimize it. That way we can see both. And now I don't need to see my artboards, so I will close them. Right? Now when you create it, and I will close the earth tones as well, and no gradient, so I don't need to have it. I will minimize the window. One thing when you're working with this one, there's some things will be created as strokes and some as fills. So what I want you to do, when I create a first shape, watch me, and then I will tell you to do it, so you don't miss it. I want you to make sure you create the shapes in the same order as here, using similar colors. They don't have to be exact, but similar, okay? And I will use my swatches for that, might be helpful. So the first one, you notice behind it is a circle, and it doesn't have any stroke, and it's purple. So go ahead and draw a purple circle. Now I will select my shapes ellipse or L on my keyboard, and I will have no stroke And the fill would be purple, like a, yes, purple. That's close. And I will hold my shift key, make a circle. So something like this. This is what you need. Now, once you draw that, make sure you fill it with purple. The next part of all this is actually lines. They're not shapes. So what we do for the yellow part, we will create lines. And the easiest way to do is selecting the line segment tool. Let me move this over. Okay, move it more. Line segment tool, just the regular one. And just watch me for now. I don't want you to miss this. And when I'm drawing it out, sticking out a little bit, I'm holding my shift key to make a straight line and I'm moving it. Watch for now, give you time, because this is important. And few things really quickly. Change the color of, not the fill, the stroke to yellow, and the thickness. So the thickness kind of is pretty thick, so I'm gonna go click on my stroke size, weight, and move it with my mouse. So something like around 13, depending on your size, 12, 13 points. Okay, go ahead and do that shape. Notice that the line right now is kind of straight, right? And this one is rounded. So do I have an option here for that? Do you see one? I don't see one. Maybe there's somewhere nested. So what I will do, I will open a panel, a stroke panel. And the panel's under window. Remember all the window? Window is where you find anything. So window, stroke. And my panel is opened up somewhere. Should be here because I actually had it there. It was just hiding. So I pull it out. Notice I just pulled it out so you can see it. And notice we have the weight. And important things for you to know is the cap. The second one is the rounded one. Okay. Now the corner is how one line or one intersects with the other one. Like when they intersect here will be rounded corner or not. But for the practice, I want you to do rounded. Okay. I mean, at this point, you're pretty good. But one thing, I want you to kind of get practice so you know. We can create dash lines. So let us practice and then we can uncheck it. So click on dash line. Okay. Here we can add the points of dash line. So if I do, let me do, that's the spacing and so on. 20. You see the difference, how they become? You can adjust the gap, let's say 5. That's not enough really. 20. You see? Now here is the distribution or length. So you can see that. Preserve exactly, align, or preserve exactly. So just know that using the line, you can create dashes, rounded or straight. But we will not be using this part. So just practice and then go ahead and uncheck it. Okay. All we want is this. Now, these shapes, I told you we're creating simple shapes, and out of those we will create one complex shape, which could be more. So one thing, we'll be using Pathfinder, but before we go in it, this is only a stroke. Some of the Pathfinder options only work with fill. So option A, redraw it as a fill, with a fill in it, like a shape. Option 2, change the stroke to a fill. Which option you like better? 2, right? So keep that in mind, because for any shapes on the left, the ones that have only stroke, no fill, like this ones and here, these would have to be changed from a stroke to a fill. Okay? And you have to do that. This side you don't have to, but this side you do. And this is how you do it. You will select that shape, selection tool, and then navigate on your top menu under object, click expand, and notice what happens to your shape when you do so. Expand, and it tells you fill and stroke. Yes, you want both. Somehow it doesn't work well when you do one, so do okay. Now it became a shape not just a line. And you can see now there's no stroke, there's a fill, right? So change our stroke to a fill. Kind of cool way to do this. Any questions on that? Good? Okay, so now we have it. What we can do, notice how many, we have what, 6 of them. We have one, we need 5 more. So this is where command, well, really we'll be copying it and pasting in place. To learn those commands, I will show you how to get it. So even go edit or command C. Okay, command C. Don't use control. Windows, people at home, you can do that if you have Windows. But here it won't be helpful. And then edit, you can see paste in place. So this is the shift. So command shift the V as Victor. Okay, so command shift V. And we will go ahead. Notice what happens when I go over the shape. I will rotate it. So go ahead, rotate it. It doesn't have to be very even. Don't worry, the spacing is not even. As close as you can. Right? Same thing. We will copy from this position only. Now you can do it from here if you want, but I want to be more precise. So command C, command shift V, and rotate this shape, and continue on. You should have 3 more. Right? So again, same thing. Command C, command shift V, rotate, and 1 more. Oh, if I can rotate it, come back. And there I have my shape. Right? So this is kind of like this. Now here some of the strokes are thicker, so that's why, but yours doesn't have to be, I mean, you can make it thicker or not. So at least have 6 of them. And that's how it should look like. So now we have our first shape is finished, and we can do the next ones. So let me zoom out so I can see them. This one has a circle that, and I checked everything so I can actually change it. So the circle has a fill and stroke. The fill is blue, maybe lighter blue than that. And then the stroke looks like a reddish purple shade kind of thing. Doesn't have to be exact, just close to it. And we'll go ahead. And that circle is not perfect, I don't think. So I'm just going to do like an ellipse shape. But notice the size of the stroke, because I want you to be close to the sizes. So thicken it up. I think I should make this thicker too. So at home, if you want to make it thicker, you can. And then inside of it, again, I always uncheck it. That way it's not selected. We have a star, which is yellow, and has no stroke. And the fill is yellow. So just practice those. Okay? And then I'm going to draw it out. And I'm holding a shift key when I do it. And then after I hold the shift key, I draw it. I can use my selection tool to put it in the middle. Right? So kind of make sure, like if you need to change the size, if it's sticking out too much, you can drag it out and change that. Next shape, and that will take a little bit more time. So draw this one out. Next one we have is the rounded rectangle shape. So the shade of that one is kind of bluish. I will choose my own shade for that. Kind of greenish blue. Like that. And I'm choosing rounded rectangle tool for that one, which is this one. And then I'm going to draw it out here. Okay. The next 2 shapes, I'm only doing the strokes and no fills, the ones that overlap the shape. So I will uncheck it, and my fill is kind of pinky, magenta shade really. No fill, so only stroke. Notice how I switch them. You see how you can switch between fill and stroke? If you don't see that, you can switch between fill and stroke. Okay? That's easier, so if you don't have to like unclick it. So I select the fill, but I don't want any fill, so I will switch it to stroke. And then go to my ellipse. L is for ellipse. And then draw out like overlapping ellipse. And again, the stroke is pretty thick, so thicken it up. I have my stroke panel here, so I will do it. maybe 10 points, something like that. 12, right? And don't forget to expand the shape. Remember how to do that? The same thing as we did for this one. We want to convert it from a stroke to a fill. Right now it's just a stroke, right? So I have to go and watch this part so you don't forget it. Otherwise, some things you do may not work. So once you draw this, go Object, Expand. Fill and stroke by default will be selected. Okay. You need to do that for these. And then the same thing I'm going to be drawing. And click it. I will be drawing now only no fill, stroke of yellow, and I guess I can use this yellow. And I will draw my rectangle. M is for rectangle. And if I draw it out like this, thicken it up, maybe like 11 points. What did I have to do with this shape? I just did it for the other one. Yep, I have to expand it. So Object, Expand. Right, and okay. So we are changing it up now, and it is now not a fill, which is nice. And I will draw the bottom one. Now, if you don't have enough space, you have to make them smaller. So you have to select them and then minimize it. So you want to make sure you have enough space. Otherwise, you'll be minimizing a few things, okay? That doesn't look really yellow. I will change the shade to more yellow shade. There. Okay, then I have the bottom one. So you're probably wondering why you're doing all this. Well, when it comes to logo design or any shapes when you're combining, even like the icons you have to do, you will learn from doing these shapes and then using Pathfinder how you can create complex shapes. So we'll do it in a minute. We have to finish all these. So ellipse, L is for ellipse. It is kind of golden shade. So we'll select like a golden yellow. And then I have 2 polygons. This is a tool again, Polygonal Tool, for the ones outside. So I uncheck it. I have no fill, stroke, and it's like a bluish shade. Then I go to my Polygonal Tool, and I'm going to hold my Shift key because I don't want to rotate, and we will adjust it. So once you draw it out like this, don't worry if it's not perfect, okay? We will adjust it. Go ahead and select your selection tool. So you draw it out first, and then you will adjust it. You will squish it, make it longer, smaller, whatever you need. Okay, something like this. So use the selection tool. And again, it's thicker stroke, so I will add some more stroke to it. Maybe 10 points. And I will expand it right away so I can copy it. So once I draw it, I put the stroke the way I want it to be. I will go under Object and Expand. Okay. And then I can just duplicate it. I can do Command C, a Command Shift V to paste it in place, or you can go under Edit. Okay. And there we have our group. At this point, I will save my file. I don't want to lose it. So easier thing to do Command S or go File, Save. Okay. And you can see the asterisk is gone. If it's still showing, you didn't save it. So if you have asterisk shown by the AI, this needs to be saved. I don't want to lose anything. Everybody's done with this part of the left, because we will move on to the right. I think you are. Some of you are still working on. Well, you'll be working on it a little bit longer. I told you to practice your basic shapes for this week. So just watch for now. I know some of you are behind, just watch it, and then you can have time for me to repeat it. Or just start what I'm doing now. So this shape, this like an egg, we will do, I call it an egg. It's kind of like a purple shape. And it's a fill, so I will select my ellipse. And it's a small shape. I mean, don't hold your shift key. What am I doing? Okay, something like this. Maybe a little bit lighter than that. Oh, no stroke. Oops. I moved my tools. And with this one, let me change the fill so you can see that. Notice that line that crosses? We are going to use the pencil tool, okay? So when you use the pencil tool, you can just have fun with it. Slice it like that. That's all you need to do. Doesn't have to be exact, as long as you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts crossing. So something like that, zigzag. And then go ahead, when you do it, make sure you have your stroke. Okay, selected. So notice what I'm doing. A lot of you are not looking. And you'll be behind. Black, and then it's going to be thicker again. That's all you need to do. You don't need to expand this one. I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay. Then the rest of the shapes, which I'm going to tell you and do really quickly, these are all circles. There are 6 circles here. And they all have fills and stroke. Okay. And we will align edges of the 4 outside circles. All of them has the alignment. So watch what I'm doing. If you're quick, you can do it. If you're not quick, just watch. I will draw 1 circle and the fill. Okay, the fill is orange. The stroke, and again, uncheck everything, otherwise it will select it. The stroke is yellowish green. We'll draw it out. And make the stroke a little bit thicker. And what I'm going to do with this one, once I draw it, it doesn't have to be perfect circle. The small one's a perfect circle. I will copy it and paste it in place. Command C, Command Shift V, and then move it right in the middle. Look what I did. That looks like a more circular shape there, but I don't really care. And it'll be easy. I flip the shades, change that. That's why I want you to watch. I'll be fast. Actually, wrong colors. Undo. Undo is a good friend of mine. Okay, so kind of what we did. Make it more perfect. And then I will duplicate this shape and not paste it in place, just on the side. Make a very small circle. And the fill is black and the stroke is blue, kind of thinner than that. 3 points and black. See what I did? I just copy and pasting it and changing the size. And then I can go ahead and duplicate them on all the sides. Now one thing I want you to know when you duplicate it, is this even? So we will align, and I showed you last week how to align. So when I select those, on top here, we'll align it to left, this one to right. That's why I want you to watch. Okay, and then this ones, these 2 to top, and the bottom ones to the bottom. So all the alignment tools I asked you to practice last week. So align 2 at a time. And then you are done with this shape. Next shape. I'm quick. Okay. Because I really want you to watch. So next shape, it's easy. This is this Polygonal Tool, and what's easy about this is the same color as the last circle we did. So I'm holding my shift key, drawing it out, and just thickening the stroke. That's easy, right? And then you already did 1 star. If you're lazy like me, I am, I will just duplicate the one I have, or you can draw one again. One thing though, when you go to this shape, I've noticed from doing this assignment in my Monday class that I really don't like the example one. So what I want you to do, I want you to make a change. Change is this. You can have it rotated. Make it stick outside the shape. Make it overlap it like this. So instead of having it inside, make it outside. And we will change the shade of this too. And the stroke is red and it's not very thick. Okay, so instead of putting it inside, make it outside. That make sense? Because I've noticed that what we're gonna do after that will not show very well if we don't do it. right? And then draw the next shapes. Again, I probably have not much room, so I have to minimize few shapes on this side by dragging them, holding my shift key to change it. I always hold my shift key because it makes it proportionate. And then we have all kinds of circles. So me being lazy, I'm just gonna duplicate the top circle, make it green on the inside. The fill is green. The stroke is like bluish shade, a little thinner. Okay, and then I will draw the purple one, or L for ellipse. And then I think it's like, I need to zoom into this to see what color it is. So whatever color you think it is that red? I think it's red around it. Zoom in so you can see it. Maybe darker red than that. Duplicate this and put it on here. Again, if you need to align it, do it. Now the last shapes, I'm not being tricky here. This is just ellipse behind a rectangle. Okay, so this is just ellipse behind the rectangle, the last one. So when you draw it out, you're drawing an ellipse. Okay. I don't know, my thing happened to my message. Okay, no, I'm good, thank you. So you draw it out as an ellipse, and none of them have any strokes. And then I will do rectangle, which is M on your keyboard, and that's kind of reddish shade, and then you're done with drawing the shapes. Once we have drawn it, save your file, Command S so you don't lose it, and then what we will do is we will create complex shape from the basic ones. So starting with the one on top, that's what we're gonna do. So select it. Notice how I just drag it over like this, selecting it, and I will zoom in. I don't need to look at this anymore, so I'll just do this. And what we need to bring up is the Pathfinder window. Where is that? Wild guess. Right, window. Pathfinder. Now the first few options of the Pathfinder deal with shape modes, and they actually also unite the paths, and you can actually go into paths to do it, and they become live. You can expand them, so there's a few things you can do with them. Now the other 6 options are permanent, and they combine shapes. Notice that we have 6 here, okay, and 4 here. How many groups we have here? 4, right? But we only have 5 on this side. That means I'm skipping one of them. You need to know which one. Okay, we're gonna start with the top one, and the first option we're gonna use is unite. They all have to be selected to do so. So unite it, and notice what we just created. A nice sunny day. So think about the use of this when you're working with your part D of your assignment, creating the icons, and also for logo design. Okay, very useful logo design tool. Okay, the next ones, guess what? We're gonna use the next option. So select both of them and click on, I don't know why outline, it's actually minus front, right? So minus front removes the front. This is actually see-through, so I can move it around. It kind of puts a hole in the middle. So I just punch a hole through it. Much faster to do it this way than doing it by hand and drawing it out, right? Now, next ones are kind of tricky, and I don't want you to do anything until you watch, because it may not work right. So if I select all of them, and what is this option? Anybody can tell me? It starts with an I think. Intersect, isn't it? The third one, intersect. Notice what happens. What does it tell me? Couldn't produce any results because I need to select 2 overlapping objects. How many do I have? 3. Exactly. So read instructions. Don't ask questions until you read instructions. Okay. So now let me select 2. So let's say I'm going to start with the right side, select this one, an object behind it, and I do intersect. What happened? What happened when I intersected it? it clipped off my shape and the shape behind disappeared, right? But what if I want to use the shape and I don't want it to be gone? What do I have to do? First of all, I would undo, because once you continue, you can go back. So the same thing here, if I do it, that means I need multiple copies of this shape behind it. That way, when I intersect these two with it, it will clip it where I want it, but we'll leave the shape alone. So we need 2 more copies. 2 for each of those, and then 1 that is going to stay. So what we're going to do, we're going to paste it, copy it, and then paste in back. New command. So Command C, okay, for copying. And then under Object, Edit, you see Paste in back, or Command B. B as boy. Right? And then we can do it again. Command B. And if you want to know if there's 3 of them, you can do this, but then undo. And unclick. Right? When you do it, go ahead and select 2 shapes. Select 2 and hold the Shift key. And then go ahead and click Intersect. There it is. Okay? And then 1 more side, right? Click. Click the shape behind, intersect again. So if we did not have this shape, it would be like this. But because we do have it, it remained. If yours disappears, undo and copy it again. Okay? Next ones. So it was the bottom. So you kind of want to see what the intersection removed it and kind of combined it, right? So this is really good when you're drawing something out and you don't want it to go outside an object. That's where you would clip it. I call it like a trim line. It gives you a trim around. Okay, so next one, so you can select all 3. And what is that called? Minus back. So that's kind of cool. What did it do? It removed back of the shape. The back shape was the circle when they intersected, right? And notice this is actually like a punch through, so I can actually see through that. Cool? So you can see it. And again, good use for logo design. And another thing we will do, we'll check if this is a single shape or it's actually now multiple shapes. So remember how to enter isolation mode, which I showed you last week? Easy way, double click. And it tells me here, look at that. It tells me I am in a group. Right? So I'm in a group. And then layer called monkey. Don't worry about the layer. But I'm in a group. So what it means is this is multiple shapes. And I can now move them around. So basically we went from 3 shapes to 5 shapes, right? So go ahead and enter that isolation mode to edit it, to move it around. When you are done, you can just double click on the artboard to go back. That's how you're gonna have everything else selected. So make sure you do so, okay? Or another way is click on it and then right click and ungroup, or object ungroup. But I don't want to ungroup it, I'll just leave it here. Right. Next one. With that one we have several ones, and this is what I really enjoy doing, the slicing part too. Don't worry about this. It's suddenly the gray come up. It's just because computers are stupid. It's not there. So if I zoom in, you see it's gone. Illustrator, right? So we will select the egg. It's like an egg and the line. And we will select the first option under Pathfinder, which is, what is it? Divide, right? Click on it. Now, it's not very exciting until, it's like I undo, like, really? That's what happened? But if I click on it, something has happened here. And how I can see it, again, I can go ahead and double click to go into isolation mode, and notice it just sliced my shape. So it didn't really matter how thick my stroke was, because it just sliced it, right? So move it around like this. So double click on it once you do it, and move it around. right? And then when you finish, double click again so you can bring back the regular layer shape. Okay, the next ones we're gonna do the 6 circles, and now here where I'm deciding if I want to do the trim or merge. They seem like they do different thing, but let's see. We will try it because honestly, I haven't found a difference. Maybe because I haven't used it as much, I don't know. But notice if I do the first one, I think it's the trim, right? It trims something. I mean, all my strokes are gone. Only the fill remains. And don't do it yet, just watch. If I double click on it to go into isolation mode, I have multiple shapes, and I have like a punch through it too, like a hole. So here it removed the shape, but here it added like a hole in it, and the shape remained, right? Okay, so I will undo. Oh, I don't want to revert it. Wrong command. Undo. I like undo. Very helpful. I think that's enough. Undoing. Now notice if I do the same thing and I select the second option, just merge. Right? Does it look the same right now? Okay, let me go isolation mode. Okay, what's the difference? If you find out, please let me know. You get extra points. You can, but show me. I want to know the difference. Okay, because I even counted the little anchor points. I'm sure there is one, and I did research on it, but... So basically, I want you to use one of them, not both. Just one, and we'll skip it. So either trim or merge. Okay, and when you do, I want you to access the isolation mode, and then move it around like this, so I can kind of see that you did that. Okay? And then double click to bring it back. So trim or merge on that one. Then the next one, that's why, okay, when you drew it, did you draw it out bigger, the star? Okay, cool. Select both of them, and we are going to do crop. And crop, it does what it does, it crops it. So notice the color attributes remain of the shape underneath it, and it crops the top shape to the edges of the other shape. Okay? Next, 3 circles. We have outline, but pay attention to your stroke color. What is your stroke color? Pay attention. Mine is red and like dark blue, but if I do outline, it creates a stroke, but it creates the stroke out of my fill. So the stroke that I had was useless because it actually works with my fill. So the outline is on my fill, and I can edit this like that, and I can move it around. Okay, so I have different little shapes. I don't remember much use of this one. Maybe something, but I used a lot of different ones for logo design, but this one not really, just to be honest. And double click of it, and then the last one we have left, it is our, what is it called? Anybody can tell me? We're removing something. What are we removing? So we're removing a shape. It's kind of something bit into it. So the last one we're using, it's kind of similar to the one we did minus front here, because we removed something. So this one does it in the other way. And after you're done with part A and B, and then you need to figure out part C and D on your own. Thank you. And don't forget to save it. All right. And you'll be submitting it next time. So now let me show you one part I'm going to record. It's how to, when you finish, where to submit it to places for you, where to save it so you have it. So what I want, one part is easy because you already have it saved, right? But you can do it from the documents or from moving it. We will map, and I want you to all do it. So whatever you're doing, save it, pause it, and go to your desktop. Okay? We will map your drive. We'll map your drive. So watch for now. Go to your desktop. If you have a lot of things, you need to close them. Command K. I'll minimize them. they click on from the server, or type it in if you're at home, students, but don't click connect. Okay. Then after the $sign for students, put the slash, and then your login name, so username. So whatever it is, this is what you'll be connecting to. Now I'm not a student, so it will not work. And then add plus, so you save it. Okay, and when you do it, connect and make sure it works. Does it work? And it should pull up like on the side here. So students, $sign with a /, and your login or username. Okay. At home, this is how you directly go to your own location, your own private folder that nobody else can see except me. I can actually view inside your folder. Okay. So once you connect, pretend I did it. It should be here on the side. You have it? All right. One thing you're gonna do with this. Let's pretend this is me, the DIGM. That's my login. Open up new window. If you don't see this window, you can click on the Macintosh hard drive to bring it up. But it's important for you not to miss this, because this is how you'll be saving for yourself too. And then drag this, like your login name, right to the favorites. See, notice I have mine here. So drag it in there. So it shows up here. So just move it, like drag it. Does it work? Just select it and drag it, and it should appear here. When it does, you're good. Now, when you finish with your document, again, be mindful. I wouldn't do it now unless you want to access this at home. But then I also have a backup, because now I can go File, Save As, and I can go to my name. Notice what I did. File, Save As, my name, Documents, and I can put it in there. So that's where I want you to save your file as well, into your Documents folder. Okay, so File, Save As, select your name, select the documents, and save that in there. Make sure the name is still good. Click all the OKs when you do it. Save, OK, OK, and all that, right? And then at home you can access it. You can access it from the other lab at Sugarland. Again, some people had issues connecting it at home, so you have a backup as well. I will cancel it because I don't need it.